the Weaver of Chandanpur. In the village of Chandanpur, where the Narmada bends like a sleeping serpent and the mango groves hum with green parrots, there lived a girl named Meera. Her fingers were stained with turmeric, her sari the dusty pink of a faded marigold. Every year at Diwali, she watched the silk merchants arrive from Varanasi, their fabrics blazing like captured sunsets, and she would whisper the same wish to the little diyas floating on the river. One day, I will weave cloth beautiful enough for a queen. But the years moved like the Narmada herself, slowly, indifferently, and Meera remained where she had always been, grinding spices in her mother's kitchen and carrying water from the well. Her loom sat cold and dusty in the corner of the hut, a forgotten promise. One autumn, a wandering weaver named Savitribai arrived in the village. It was said she had once woven a sari for the Maharani of Gwalior, a garment so fine it felt like touching a cloud. Savitribai walked with a twisted tamarind staff, but her eyes were as sharp as a hawk's. The village women flocked to her, but Meera stood at the edge of the crowd. Finally, she stepped forward. "I want to weave like you," she said. "Tell me the secret to making something beautiful." Savitribai looked at her for a long time. "What did you do this morning?" Meera blinked, confused. "I ground the masala. I swept the courtyard." "And yesterday morning?" "The same." "And the morning before that?" Meera fell silent. The old woman nodded slowly. "You do not want to weave," she said, her voice like shifting gravel. "You want to have woven. There is a great difference." She tapped her staff. "Come to me at sunrise, not to make a masterpiece, just to sit." The next morning, the sky was the color of a ripe persimmon when Meera arrived. She expected to learn complex patterns or the secrets of the Varanasi masters. Instead, Savitribai handed her a single wooden shuttle and pointed to a child's loom, a tiny frame no bigger than a winnowing basket. "Make 10 passes," the old woman said. "That is all. Then go home." Meera stared at her. "Only 10? That will take 2 minutes." "Then it will be a very easy 2 minutes," Savitribai replied. Meera completed the task, feeling faintly ridiculous, but she returned the next day, and the next. By the 7th morning, something strange happened. Meera woke before the roosters. For a moment, she didn't know why, but then she felt a strange itch in her palms. Her hands were restless. They wanted the shuttle. She realized then that the 10 passes weren't meant to finish a cloth. They were meant to start a hunger. As the monsoon arrived, drumming on the tin roofs and filling the air with the scent of wet earth, Meera's work grew. 10 passes became 20. An hour became a morning. But as she looked at her work, rough cotton, uneven borders, and tangled threads, despair crept in. "I am working every day," she cried to Savitribai, "but it is ugly. I am getting nowhere." Savitribai led her into the rain and pointed to a bamboo shoot near the wall. "This plant spends 4 years underground, sending roots in every direction. For 4 years, you see nothing. Then, in the 5th year, it grows 80 feet in 6 weeks. She pressed Meera's hand. "You are not failing, child. You are underground. You are building the roots that can support a queen's silk." One afternoon, Savitribai visited Meera's home. Without a word, she began moving furniture. She dragged the heavy loom out from behind the grain sacks and placed it in the center of the room, directly under the window, where the morning light fell in a golden rectangle. "It is in the way," Meera's mother protested. "Exactly," Savitribai smiled. "Now, she cannot walk to the kitchen without touching the wood. She cannot fetch water without seeing the thread. Savitribai then took Meera's favorite books of poetry and placed them in a high cupboard, out of sight. "Willpower is a shallow well," the old woman whispered. "Do not waste it fighting yourself. Arrange your world so the right thing is the easiest thing to do." A year passed. A merchant from Indore, a man of legendary taste, happened through Chandanpur. He stopped dead in his tracks when he saw a panel of saffron cotton hanging to dry in Meera's courtyard. It featured a pattern of interlocking diamonds, a design no one had taught her. He bought it for more silver than Meera's family saw in a year. That evening, the villagers gathered under the banyan tree. "How did you do it?" they asked. "How did you become a master so quickly?" Meera looked at her calloused hands. "I stopped trying to be a master," she said quietly. "I just tried to be a person who didn't miss a morning. Each day I sat at the loom was a vote I cast for myself. I didn't notice the change any more than I noticed the river moving. But one day I woke up and realized the girl who whispered wishes to the river was gone. In her place, there was only a weaver." Epilogue. 3 Diwalis later, the Narmada was again scattered with floating diyas. But Meera did not stand on the bank. She was in her hut, working on a sari of deep river blue for the district collector's wife. There was no grand victory, no single moment of magic. There was only the loom in the light, the rhythm of the shuttle, and the thousands of small mornings that had turned a dream into a life. The lesson of the loom: we do not rise to the height of our dreams. We fall to the level of our systems. Tomorrow morning, whatever your loom may be, sit at it.